Hey, everybody. Saul Marquez with the Outcomes Rocket. I really want to welcome you all today to the podcast. Today, I am joined by the outstanding Juliette Vandenbroucque. She is a senior director of business development at Taimei Technology, a leading digital innovator in clinical research. She has extensive international experience in the life sciences industry, spanning PR, scientific communications, global medical affairs, clinical research, and many more things. Juliette has worked in leading pharma companies and biotech startups across 3 IPOs, 15 product launches, 2 new manufacturing site inaugurations. You get the point. She knows the business and she knows it well. And Juliette, with that introduction, I want to welcome you to the podcast. I'm so glad you could join today.
Thank you so much for the invite, Saul. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And so, Juliette, tell me what inspires your work in the business of healthcare.
Yeah, so of course, health is a fundamental aspect in all of our lives. It's, necessary in everything we do. And there are still many untreated, debilitating, and life-threatening diseases impacting a lot of people, in addition to a lot of health inequality. So that's, of course, one point. Health is necessary. In addition to this, I think what really drives me in working that field is biology itself. Biology is fascinating. It's a very complex field. We've made tremendous progresses over the past 50 years. We're still scratching the surface, and there are so many aspects that needs to be understood and uncovered. And in addition to this, I think what makes our job and our world very interesting is it's the fact that it's so interdisciplinary when it comes to research, of course, but also any new pathway to approve new technologies or new drugs and so on and so forth. It's a very complex field. So it's great to be able to play a small part in helping tackling those unsolved issues or diseases, which will hopefully have a tremendous impact on humanity.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, Juliette. There's that access problem and the nonstop challenges that we get to really tackle in this field. So I can't agree with you more there. That's part of what I love about being in healthcare. And as you think about sort of the work that Taimei does, how do you think you guys are adding value to the healthcare ecosystem?
Yeah, so first of all, to start with a little bit, to tell just a few words about Taimei. So Taimei, it's basically a digital innovator in the life science and clinical development field. So then to put a bit of, set the scene a little bit, if you will, there are still so many challenges in around to the field of research. I was saying earlier that biology is complex and we don't understand a lot of it. But in addition to that, the whole field of research and development is very complex and difficult. So for instance, to give a bit of numbers here, despite all of the technological progress that we have made, there are still a high failure rate in clinical trials, with 9 out of 10 clinical trials that are going to fail. So this is huge. What it means in practice is only 10% of drugs that are in clinical trials are actually going to make it to the clinic. And these numbers, they actually go lower when you look at very complex therapeutic areas such as neurology and oncology. So this is one part. In addition to this, the cost of developing new drugs is very high. It can go up to $2.5–3 billion. And the average cost per patient for a clinical trial is on average $300,000. So this is huge, so per patient. And on top of this, of course, it takes 10 to 12 years to bring a new drug from concept to market. So these are a lot of, difficult challenges that need to be tackled. And on top of this, and one of the reasons why it takes so long is because it's very hard to recruit patients. I think 80% of clinical trials, they still fail to recruit a patient in time, despite, always having buffer and so on and so forth. So all of that, what it means is the clinical development field is very complex. There's a lot of processes, challenges, and it's also not a very innovative industry, where a lot of things are still very archaic, a lot of things are still done on paper. So it's costly, timely, and high risk. So basically what we're trying to do at Taimei is trying to transform, the industry by accelerating clinical research and improving those processes. So we deploy machine learning in order to tackle those inefficiencies and accelerate and improve the overall clinical trial research, and to help, of course, pharma and biotech to reduce those risks, because these are very, very challenges, very costly, as I was saying, and there's a lot of data errors and so on and so forth that would, on top of having potential safety issues, also reducing increasing the overall study timelines.
Yeah. No, thanks, Juliette. There's certainly big challenges, lots of costs, slow moving, and a slow success rate. And so we need major improvement there. How do you believe the work you guys are doing is better or different than the options out there, right? Because there's a lot of folks trying to innovate in this space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, I think it's great, right? Because it's not one company that's going to change the world. And the fact that one company, initiates those kind of develop those new initiatives, new technologies, etc. There's a whole wave of new innovation that's hopefully, going to come. So it's amazing. And I hope, because at the end of the day, I work in that field because I want to play, part of it, and I want to change, those challenges, and I want to make sure, we evolve our models in order to accelerate drug development. But basically, what's out there right now, and what makes us quite unique, is that no one is really leveraging, let's say, machine learning or deploying machine learning the way we do. And that's why we have partnered, with a lot of different industry stakeholders, from very, very small biotech companies. I'm based in the Bay Area, so I work with a lot of small biotechs, as well as large pharma, and also, CROs who, of course, deploy those clinical trials. And what makes us unique is there's a lot of sort of platform out there that provide, solutions for one problem or another or whatever. So there's a lot of different vendors pharma and biotechs will have to work with. And so what we do is that we offer a comprehensive and integrated solution to provide them with a seamless experience, on top of having, of course, this accelerated timeline and platform to help them accelerate their clinical development. And last but not least, I would say what makes us different, because we're small, so like any company, that's smaller compared to, the big, large organizations. We're very adaptable. We really foster collaborative partnerships with our clients. We want to ensure we constantly evolve our processes and solution to address specific challenges that our partners are going through. So I think at the end of the day is, we're not just a service. I really think we're transforming the field and setting, of course, new standard in the field to help launch products faster, safer for patients.
So, Juliette, tell us about a setback. We learn more about our setbacks than our wins sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had to think a bit about that. But I think for me, my biggest setback is having a lack of formal credential in biology. So specifically not having a PhD in science, for instance. And I started this career in biology and actually in biotech back in Paris, like a very long time ago. It was 15 years ago. And I think I really fell in love, with the field. And I'm very lucky because I'm very, very curious, and I'm literally curious about everything. So, and I think that's why I love this field so much, because there's everything you need, to basically, for you to learn every day. Like, you learn all the time. It's a very fast-paced environment that evolves every day. There's, new trends, new technologies, new discoveries, and so on and so forth. And so it's wonderful, to be able to learn every day. And so what I do to tackle this sort of setback of mine, let's say, is that I proactively, keep on top of industry trends. I deep dive, into scientific concepts. I take online courses. I conduct my own research, and I always keep, of course, an open mind. And I'm always eager, to learn and to understand this, very, very complex field. Another piece of it is I network a lot. I think the best way to learn is when you ask, questions to the experts. So I love doing that. I think it's
totally agree.
It's wonderful. And I think overall, having this challenge, it has shaped me to be more resilient and more adaptive, and perhaps more resourceful than other people who, already have a PhD and maybe think, okay, I know it, I know everything. I think it has also forced me to demonstrate, my expertise in this field. So yeah, I sort of try to leverage this as a catalyst rather than a barrier.
Hey, I love that, Juliette. And, hey, you look around, whether it's entrepreneurship, like there's some of the most successful entrepreneurs end up getting, what do they call them? Like, not complimentary degrees, but honorary degrees. You're like, yeah, oh yeah, you didn't go to school, but wow, you really know this stuff. So here's an honorary degree from Harvard. And to your point, right? Like your curiosity has really helped you shine. And there's a lot of assumptions that happen when you do have that formalized study. So maybe it makes you even more creative as a business person and individual. So I love that. That's a great example. And so as we think about healthcare trends and technology, what would you say is happening that will change healthcare as we know it?
So I think the most transformative trend is going to be the integration of omics data, so genomics, proteomics, and so on, with big data analytics and machine learning. So we are now sequencing a lot of data from patients. These are continuing to become cheaper, and we also have better quality. So producing more and more of that high quality data. And in parallel with that, with the evolution of machine learning models that have become way more sophisticated in analyzing complex biological data, this has tremendously pushed our field forward. And so this will have an impact, I think, of course, on drug discovery. We already, see some companies being built, especially here in the Bay Area, where new drugs are being identified through machine learning. So it's like almost like designed as well based on all of that data. The convergence of those technologies is going to also help, I guess, medical doctors and the field to enable more personalized and accurate diagnosis and treatment. So basically, we're getting towards personalized healthcare, personalized medicine, which I think is a buzzword we hear a lot in our field. So from a one-size-fits-all, we're really going towards highly individualized treatment. So I think these are the two things. And the last one, which in my mind is the holy grail, and especially everybody's talking about ChatGPT now and those models and how it has increased and enabled us to deep dive into biological system. I think is how those machine learning models are potentially going to help us to truly understand the complexity of how genes interplay with one another, proteins, other biological markers, and how it's going to help us to tackle and understand biological mechanism and accelerate the discovery of new therapies.
Yeah, so there's a lot to be excited about, Juliette, and I totally agree. The promise of these technologies is huge. I appreciate you sharing your vision and perspective on that. Well, look, we are here at the end. I've really enjoyed our discussion. Thank you so much for this. What closing thought would you leave with the listeners, and where's the best place they could get in touch with you?
Thank you. I think my closing thought, and maybe looping back to your question regarding biggest setback, I think it's to always dream big. That sounds a bit, cheesy, but I think having ambitious goals, for yourself is wonderful. I think, we need to continue to dream big. I think this is thanks to big dreamers that we have had, those tremendous advancements in science, technology, and so on and so forth. And so to do that, I think it's important to, surround yourself with smart and inspiring people and try to believe in yourself and equip yourself, to achieve those dreams. Because I think anything is possible as long as you dare to dream. And lastly, so if people want to reach out to me, I have a Twitter account, which I never remember the handle. But I think if they type my name, they can find me. Otherwise, of course, I'm on LinkedIn.
We'll put it in the show notes. You could share it with us. We'll put it in the show
Twitter,
notes.
LinkedIn, whatever.
Awesome.
Happy to chat.
Outstanding. Juliette, thank you so much for spending time with us, folks. Definitely check out the show notes on our podcast with Juliette. I think you'll enjoy it. Hit rewind. There were some pretty good, valuable discussions that we had today. So make sure you do that. Juliette, thanks for being with us. Listeners, thanks for joining us.